We are live, folks. Welcome to a special preview and prediction show on the Squared Circle Psychobabble for All Elite Wrestling's All Out happening tonight. Buy-in show starts at 7 o'clock. Main show starting at 8 o'clock. My name is Michael Valenti. Joining me is Ralph Valenti. There are 2 buy-in matches and 9 total matches on the main card, Ralph. A lot of gimmick matches, I must say. You have the Mimosa Mayhem match, you have the Casino Battle Royale, the Broken Rules match, the Tooth and Nail match, and a bunch of other just basic matches, 3 championship matches. This could be a very, very interesting pay-per-view, Ralph, to say the least.
Certainly going to be interesting. Certainly a lot of things that are going to dictate the future of AEW and the direction of the company from here on out. I am certainly excited for tonight and excited for the pay-per-view.
Yes, I'm excited too. And I know everybody joining us now is excited. We're going to go through our predictions. Afterwards, we will go through some questions. If you guys want to put a question in, just go in the chat, use the hashtag question, followed by your question, and we'll try to get through it as best as we can. And of course, you could skip the line by donating to the Super Chat Party. And since the last time we did a live show, Ralph, we have merchandise. Merchandise is now available. We have a pin on the top of the video chat, as well as the shelf underneath the video. If you're watching on a computer, it's much easier to see, but you can also see it underneath if you're watching by phone. So
make sure you guys get your t-shirts and sweatshirts.
Yes,
because I certainly don't have one. Michael owes me a t-shirt. I don't got shit yet.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
I just ordered them, Ralph. They're on the way. They're coming. We got t-shirts, we got mugs, we got zip-up hoodies, pullover hoodies. We even have a fleece blanket for while you're watching AEW Dynamite or All Out or any other pay-per-view. You can be warm in the process. So, all right, let's start with the first match of the night, Ralph. For the buy-in, just announced, right before we got on the air, Joey Janela versus Sir Pentaco. Very last minute here, but I'm going to go with Joey Janela with the win here, Ralph.
Yeah, I mean, hard to get invested in something like this. But again, like you said, it's just added. It's not like there's going to be a lot of major build up to this. I'll go with Joey Janela. Why the hell not?
Do you think Mr. Cornette watches and praises this match at the end of the day?
I am going to go with probably fuck no. Highly doubt it.
Jelly Nutella is going to go wild, but he's probably not even going to watch the buy-in anyway. He'll just watch the pay-per-view and then review it for his next show, whether that's the drive-through or the experience, whatever freaking podcast it is. He has both. So him and Brian Last will have a field day with it if they watch it. If not, they just skip it. But it is a very random match, and I'm seeing a few people already saying, what a random match. But let's move on to the other match that was announced yesterday for the buy-in, and that is because Brit Baker versus Big Swole was moved to the main card. This match was announced a tag team match, Private Party. Marq, Quen, and Isiah Kassidy going up against the Dark Order, Thing 1 and Thing 2, as many people now know them as 3 and 4, or some people may call them John Silver and Alex Reynolds. I think this could be a big night for the Dark Order, but I think that happens later on in the night, Ralph. I do not see Thing 1 and Thing 2 winning. I think they're going to be the weak link in the Dark Order, and I think that's going to be a story where eventually Brodie Lee gets sick of it and kicks these guys out. But who knows? Maybe there's a big win in our future. I don't know. We'll see what happens. What do you think, Ralph?
I do not see any wins in the near future for Thing 1 and Thing 2. I think that they are going to continue to be buried in the Dark Order. I don't see them beating Private Party. I guess that means no chilies for them. Isn't that the thing that happens, I guess, on a weekly basis on Being the Elite? They get chilies whenever they win a big match.
Yes, it is. I
guess they're going to have to settle for like Texas Roadhouse or Wendy's or fucking Dairy Queen or something.
Well, we'll see. But I do want to say special thanks. We got our first super chat. Jamie Bazria, and I apologize if I mispronounced that. Jamie Bazria donating $5 to the Super Chat Party. Thank you very much for your donation. Of course, anybody that wants to donate can so. It's not necessary, but it helps support the channel. And of course, we got merchandise available as well. But Yeah, thing one, thing two, no Chili's for them. I unfortunately, but it could be a big night of Chili's for the rest of the Dark Order later on. But let's move on to the main show, Ralph. A match that a lot of people wanted to see on the main show after it was announced it was going to be on the pre-show, and that is Brit Baker versus Big Swole in the tooth and nail match. We found out exactly what it is. It's basically a cinematic match being held at Dr. Brit Baker's dentist office. This has a lot of potential, I think, Ralph. It either could be very, very entertaining or a train wreck, just like all the other cinematic matches that we've seen in both WWE and the Stadium Stampede match in AEW. What do you think? Do you think this is going to be a good match, Ralph?
I don't. Well, I don't know if you necessarily want to consider it a match. I mean, it's going to be some type of theatrical something. I think Britt Baker gets the win here. I think that the future of the division, especially considering right now, at least, we won't know until the end of the night. But Shida is the champion. I think that they're going to have a strong heel go up against her, and I think that has to be Britt Baker at this point. They really don't have anybody else that they're really trying to promote, and it looked like they were going to push her before she got hurt. The match itself, again, if you want to call it a match, I don't know what to expect from it. Maybe a special appearance from The Fiend. I don't know.
Well, The Fiend in AEW, her name is Abaddon. I don't think she makes an appearance tonight, but she could also be a potential number one contender for the AEW Women's Championship. She's been racking up wins on AEW Dark. So possibly, maybe there's some appearance with her later on in the show, or they start telling that story later on episodes of AEW Dynamite. But I think for this match, I'm going to go with Dr. Britt Baker for the win. Obviously, she gets the home field advantage being in a dentist office. I'm kind of confused on why, if Swole is supposed to pick the stipulation, she's picking something in Britt Baker's advantage, like a tooth and nail match. And it really seemed like for at least the last week that they were teasing that it was going to be a dumpster match. Now, that might have been the case, and maybe Britt Baker's not 100% healthy to do a dumpster match, but that would have been exciting to see, Ralph.
We will see how this match goes. It could end up being a dumpster fire match, depending on how good or bad the match turns out being. So we will find out. I don't think it's going to be bad. I mean, Britt Baker, like I said, she was really, really good and has been really, really good in this role. Big Swole has been good to her credit as well. The hard thing about this match is really getting invested in it because, again, the women's division, if there's one thing that people have been consistently harping on, is just the fact that AEW has not highlighted the women's division to the point that they'd like to see it highlighted.
Right.
You look at WWE, NXT, they've got women in very prominent roles in main storylines. We saw last night, I guess, Bayley attacked Sasha, which I saw that on SmackDown. Yes. So, hopefully this is the start of actually portraying women like Britt Baker, Shida, Thunder Rosa. Who knows how long she's going to stick around for, but let's see them actually try to establish the women's division. Get it back on the right track.
Yeah, let's hope so. But at the end of the day, this is the first match that we're talking about on the main card. 8 other matches left. And I think the next 2 that we're going to cover are matches that were kind of thrown together last minute. Not a real story behind them. Yes, there is a story behind them, but not that much of one. But the first one was just established on the last episode of AEW Dynamite in the 8-man tag where the winners faced off against each other. And that is the Young Bucks versus the Jurassic Express. I honestly don't know exactly where to go with this, Ralph. But I highly doubt the Young Bucks would book themselves to lose on pay-per-view, but I could be wrong.
I mean, there could be some crazy outside interference, but I can't see them losing this match, to be honest with you. I mean, if there's, no matter what happens, right? Let's just suppose whatever, FTR wins or, Hangman and Kenny retain. It doesn't matter who wins that match. I think they need to build up another tag team, and the only logical team, in my opinion, has to be the Young Bucks. Yes, Jurassic Express, they are very good. They have a lot of talent. They could probably do a lot of cool things, but it's kind of like they all get thrown into these 4-on-4 or 5-on-5 matches week in and week out, and it's hard for any of them to really get ahead. It's hard for them to make a name for themselves and establish themselves as a top tag team that truly stands out. I think the Young Bucks, are at the top of the list more or less just because, I guess by default, their name is more well known to people outside of AEW, and it's the fans are always going to be behind them. So I really don't see them losing this match,
right?
Especially considering now they have this supposed heel turn or edgier side. So
right. And also, obviously, they have ties to whoever wins the AEW Tag Team Championships later on in the night, whether that is going to be Page and Omega retaining or FTR winning. And the Bucks probably are going to be the next team up for that because they have a story behind both of them. They rack up wins against impressive teams, make them the number one contenders, and we'll maybe eventually see the FTR versus Young Bucks match that everybody wants to see. So
somebody did comment here. Hey guys, no Proud and Powerful instead of Jurassic Express. So you have heel versus face. I agree 100%. I think too many times they do the face versus face thing, which is, it's fine when you do it on occasion, but I truly feel like you have to really establish who to root for, who to boo, things like that. It makes for a better it makes for a better investment for whoever. But if you're watching the show, you want to be invested in the product. You want to be invested in the team and root for or boo somebody.
Right. But the thing with the Bucks here, if they're teasing this little heel turn thing, then they're the heels in this match, I would think. And I mean, Luchasaurus, even this past Wednesday, still getting pretty big pops when he appears in the ring. So I think the fans will be supporting the Jurassic Express.
It wasn't heelish enough. Isn't that a thing now? Isn't that the thing that people are starting to talk about? Roman's a heel, but he's not heel enough. Well,
that's only one angry elf. That's only one angry elf from New York, Ralph. Well, that's not everybody. We'll but all right, I see the chat really asking for us. So let's get it done and over with, Ralph. We got a lot to talk about with this next match. The Casino Battle Royale. 21 men. One will win and become the number one contender for the AEW Championship. We have Darby Allin. We have Ricky Starks. We have Brian Cage, Lance Archer, Proud and Powerful, Best Friends, Eddie Kingston, Lucha Brothers, and the Butcher and the Blade. Am I missing anybody? Oh, Sean Spears. So if I counted correctly, there are 4 empty slots here.
Yep.
My guess is they're going to use 3 for someone like a Griff Garrison, a Lee Johnson, maybe a Sunny Days or a Luther. But then you have the Joker. Who's going to be the Joker? I've seen so far in the chat someone saying that it could be Rowan. A lot of people putting their money on Rusev, a.k.a. Miro. I think it's going to be one of 3 people, either a returning Pac, Nick Aldis, or I can't remember the third one again. I tried last
Wardlow.
time. Wardlow.
Get with it, man. I know this is live, but good Lord, get yourself together.
Yeah.
Wardlow.
Wardlow was the third. Thank you very much, Ralph. Wardlow was the third one. And the reason why I picked Wardlow is because it depends on who's becoming the AEW champion later on in the night. And if Wardlow ends up winning this damn thing, does he face Moxley or does he face MJF? That would be interesting. Who could it be, Ralph? Who's going to be the Joker? Before we pick a winner, who's the Joker in your opinion?
Well, let me start with this. This is why the dynamic of this match is so impactful, because it gets people interested in it, right? Now, it also could set the table up for a little bit of a disappointment here, because if somebody doesn't debut or somebody doesn't return in this Joker position and it ends up being somebody who nobody wants to see, it's going to fall flat. But it builds intrigue because people are going to always predict, well, it could be this guy, it could be that guy. Maybe it's some guy from NWA. Maybe it's somebody that's debuting. I mean, from what I've been reading, people are predicting that it could be anybody from Miro to, Sting. I don't know.
I don't think it's Sting. No,
I don't think so either. But I'm just saying these are the types of things that people are saying out there. They're throwing all sorts of names out there, but that's okay because it's building intrigue in the match. And as long as it doesn't truly fall flat, I think the fans will be okay with somebody like Pac returning. I think they'd be okay with somebody, like Jeff Cobb, for example. I think, dark horse type person, maybe Eli Drake, maybe Nick Aldis.
Eli Drake would be a great pick.
Yeah, and for you know what, for what it's worth, I have seen Enzo quite a bit on Twitter. Just about every single day, he's talking about All Elite Wrestling. So either he's a huge fan or he's really trying to get in the company. I don't know. I think that this match itself really is going to dictate who ends up winning the main event tonight. I think it's really going to be telling.
Right.
If Brian Cage or Archer end up winning this match, I think that Moxley is probably going to end up winning the main event tonight.
Right.
But I could also see the Wardlow MJF thing happening too. But I think that's something we're going to get eventually down the road anyway. And maybe even tonight, depending on how the match ends. If, for example, Wardlow ends up costing MJF the match, I could see that already start to build tension between the two.
Right. But see, I think with Archer and Cage, they're going to cancel each other out either by eliminating each other simultaneously, or they might have one eliminate the other, and then the guy comes in and eliminates the other, costing him the match. You also have Ricky Starks involved with that. So potentially it could be that Ricky Starks distracts Archer and Cage eliminates Archer. And then later on, maybe Darby Allin eliminates Brian Cage. There's a lot there.
Yeah, there certainly is. You're hurting my fucking brain right now.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hurt your brain. I'm trying to talk about the damn match. But anyway, I do believe that here's my prediction. The winner of this, we talk about Archer, we talk about Cage, whoever the Joker is. Who's the guy that was just standing there, not doing anything during the brawl at Dynamite this past Wednesday?
Taz?
Nope.
Jake
Taz.
Roberts?
Nope. Who we missing? He just walked out, stared at the ring, didn't do anything.
Walked out and stared?
Yep. He just
Dexter
walked out.
Lumis?
No, it wasn't Dexter Lumis. Wrong promotion, Ralph.
Who?
Sean Spears.
Yeah.
Sean Spears is winning the Casino Battle Royale. He's 12-2 this year and is not even ranked. And he talks about that on Twitter and on social media. Like, why isn't he ranked despite having all these wins?
Probably has something to do with strength of schedule, as they were referred to it in the NFL. Because I couldn't tell you what would be the most. I don't have his wins and losses in front of me, but I can't imagine who his most prominent win would be. I know he beat Pillman.
He beat Pillman.
But other than that, I mean, all his matches pretty much have happened on Dark, I'd imagine. But you know what? Lance Archer, isn't he in the same boat? He's got an impressive record, but
he does.
It's not like he's been really highlighted very much on Dynamite. It's mostly happened.
That's true. Yeah, they've been using him a lot on Dark as well, racking up wins. But at least he's gotten some TV time, where Sean Spears doesn't even get TV time on Dynamite. And he's talking about that. But
somebody says CM Punk.
No, CM Punk, guys. No. Got to lead Retribution. Not going to be the Joker at All Out. Come on now.
Eric Grubbs is watching from work. Shout out to him. Thank you for supporting the channel. I saw somebody else wanted a special shout out that's watching from South Africa right now.
South Africa?
I can't find it. I am sorry, but South Africa, whoever that was who made the comment, you can comment again. We'll give you a shout out. So thank you for supporting the channel.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys. And of course, if you have questions, use the hashtag question. We're going to go over those at the end of our predictions. And of course, you can always donate to the channel on the super chat. Any dollar amount, greatly appreciated. It helps support the channel. And of course, we also have merchandise now available. You can, as Ralph is drinking Capri Sun during the live broadcast, you can you could buy the merchandise. There's a shelf underneath the video, or we have a pin in the video chat on YouTube that you guys could check out.
Ralph, I am struggling over here. Normally I would be drinking a beer here on a special day like this, but I cannot drink because I am currently battling Lyme disease. So
are you really?
I am. I have been on antibiotics for 5 days. I have 5 days left tomorrow at that engagement party we go to. I will be sober as a judge. Yeah. Unfortunately.
You'll also be like 20 feet away from everybody too.
I adhere to social distancing. I am doing my part here.
Yes. And speaking of which, we also have masks available at the Squared Circle Psychobabble store. So check that out if you need a new mask. Have the Squared Circle Psychobabble logo on that. So who's winning the Casino Battle Royale, Ralph? I have Sean Spears.
I am going to go with, unless the Joker ends up being a huge shock, I'm going to go with Darby.
Darby. Okay, good pick.
Yeah.
Good pick. All right, let's move on to the singles matches, and we'll start with some of the gimmick matches that we have in the night. And I'm not calling them gimmick because I don't like them. They're just stip matches, and that's kind of what you call them, gimmick matches. We'll start with the Broken Rules match. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. If Matt Hardy loses, he is out of AEW. What do you think, Ralph? Did they tip their hand?
Here's what I think. First of all, I think this is going to be one of those matches that sneaks up on people and is sneaky good. I don't expect it to be like a 30-minute classic.
Yep.
But I think there's going to be just enough hardcore, just enough high spots, just enough carnage for fans to really be like, holy shit, this was great. Because that's really what we've gotten from these two, I should say, to this point. Unfortunately, their last match, from what I could tell, from what you thought too, the match got cut short. I think that Sammy wins this. I think Hardy goes away for a little bit. I think he really starts to help out behind the scenes, especially with the tag team division. And I think that once we really start getting back to normal, where there's more fans, he comes back and we really truly see if this Woken gimmick can work. Because I think that gimmick really needs fans in attendance to either react to it to let you know if it's working, if it's not working, if they're into it, if they're not into it. It really, to me, it just falls flat when there's not fans there. That's one of those gimmicks. I mean, could you imagine, let's say, for example, The Undertaker, right? His entrance, and even though it's silent, but, back in the day, you used to get people put the lighters up and just the reaction when the lights went out.
Right.
It would still work, but would it be as impactful? I mean, Daniel Bryan, the Yes Movement. At the height of the Yes Movement, coming out to an empty arena without people chanting yes. It's just one of those things. You need the people there. You need the fans there. I think Matt Hardy goes away, comes back once you can get a little more fans in the building, and we start to see maybe the Woken gimmick come back.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, and I could see that happening. However, the fact that they said that if Matt Hardy loses, he's out, either they're writing him off so that he could come back as broken Matt Hardy, or this is his way of getting a win and protecting Sammy Guevara, because it's like, well, if he loses, he's out of a job, so he's going to try harder to win this match. And I think this will be a huge showcase for Sammy Guevara regardless, but AEW likes to do this, where they want to showcase somebody in a losing effort, and Sammy Guevara has been the brunt of that for a while. Since really the first episode of AEW Dynamite. He looks good, but at the end of the day, he just doesn't get the big win here. So we did get a $10 donation to the Super Chat party. Thank you very much, Francis Loop, $10. Big commenter on our podcast too, so great supporter. Thank you very much, Francis. He says, nothing will surprise me. If Thunder Rosa wins, that won't surprise me. But with Hikaru Shida winning, I think there are more heel female wrestlers and less of the faces for Hikaru to work with. I agree. I agree with that. When you talk about the heels, you got Baker, Nyla, Abaddon. Abaddon, I think, is heel. Penelope Ford is a heel. And then you look at the faces. Who are the faces? Shida.
Anna Jay's a heel.
Anna Jay's a heel, yep. Ty Conti, I guess if she's joining the Dark Order, that would make her a heel.
She is number 77.
What's that?
She is number 77 in the Dark Order algorithm.
77, okay. Well, I'm trying to figure out all the numbers in the Dark Order. I don't know. They're either a math algorithm or landscaping business or a Chili's endorsement company, but so
many numbers, it would make Albert Einstein's head spin.
Maybe not. All right. Either way, yes, I'm going with Matt Hardy taking the win and saving his career in AEW over Sammy Guevara, and you have Sammy Guevara taking the win and writing off Matt Hardy so he could come back as broken Matt Hardy. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. The other big gimmick match, Ralph. Everybody wants to hear it. Everyone wants to know your prediction for this one because it's your favorite wrestler in AEW. Freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy versus Le Champion Chris Jericho in a Mimosa Mayhem match. There are 3 ways you can win this match, Ralph. Pinfall, submission, or throwing your opponent in a vat of mimosa. If it was just the mimosa stipulation, Orange Cassidy easily wins this. They add the submission and pinfall. That means Jericho is winning. He's tapping out Orange Cassidy, but Cassidy gets the final laugh by pushing Jericho in the vat after the match.
Okay. So ask yourselves this. Let's assume, because this is what I think is going to happen. I think Orange Cassidy is going to win this match. Okay. And then what? Then what? Then what does he do? Does he challenge for the championship at some point? Does he move himself up to the main event level? What happens to Jericho?
Jericho goes on a Fozzy tour.
Oh, Christ. Maybe. Then this is the thing I've always said. Look, I don't hate Orange Cassidy. I never said I disliked the guy. Yeah, it's a work.
A lie. He hates him with a passion. I could show you the text.
Do you remember when CM Punk said this? Okay. Do you remember when CM Punk came out and he said to John Cena, I hate this idea that you're the best.
Yeah.
I hate the idea that people think this guy is like a megastar. He's not. Is he going to be? Maybe, but he's not right now.
Right.
So here's my thing. How far is that gimmick? How far is that personality? How far is that Orange Cassidy persona going to get him? Is he truly a main eventer? I don't know. He's a good wrestler. I don't know if that gimmick, him not cutting promos and all of that stuff, is going to get him to the next level. It might. I do think that they are going to give him the win here, though, because I can't see him and Jericho working together for this long. I mean, to this point, has it really done all that much for Chris Jericho? I see you reading the comments down there. I'm sure people are.
Someone actually someone says, Ralph Cassidy, can't wait for this feud to be over. Just don't care about this match. I liked OC.
Sounds like time for a freshly squeezed bathroom break during this match.
I don't like Cassidy either. Someone complaining about the price of the pay-per-view. Which
someone commented from Scotland. So shout out to our friend from Scotland. I'm sorry I can't find you either, but again,
that's Claymore country. Scotland is Claymore country.
Anyway,
yes.
So yeah, I mean, I think the whole point of this feud was Chris Jericho being the former champion, being one of the biggest names in the industry. Look, a lot of people, and by a lot of people, I mean a certain subset of the AEW fan base and people within AEW, from what we understand, from what Meltzer reported a while back, they believe that Orange Cassidy can be the next big thing in professional wrestling. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. He's not at that level yet, no matter what people want to say. Has this feud with Chris Jericho truly done anything for Orange Cassidy? And if Orange Cassidy loses to Chris Jericho, what is that? It doesn't do anything for either of them. Chris Jericho is going to go on and he can wrestle whoever he wants because he's supposedly a top tier guy. Orange Cassidy, for the people that don't like Orange Cassidy, they're still going to dislike him. For the people that like Orange Cassidy, they'll still like him after the match, win or lose. It doesn't do anything for either of these guys. So I think what happens here, Jericho takes the loss. I don't know how. Orange Cassidy takes the win. Jericho's going for a bath either way. He's the guy that's going to end up in this vat of
Mimosa,
orange juice, and whatever else it is.
Champagne. Ralph. Jericho has the champagne. Orange Cassidy has the orange. That's how you make a mimosa. You're supposed to be the alcoholic beverage expert on the podcast, not me.
Yeah, I drink beer, whiskey, and Jägermeister and smoke cigars. I don't drink fucking champagne.
Your wife doesn't drink mimosas?
No, she drinks tequila. This is why we get along so well.
I guess so. And that's why my wife and I don't get along, because she drinks like vodka and cranberry. I drink H2O. So that's why we hate each other. But no, we don't. We don't hate each other. But thank you very much, Harold Romero, for the $5 donation on the Super Chat party. What if Tyson comes and punches Jericho into the mimosa? Jericho turns into the New Japan Pro Wrestling version of Jericho to keep reinventing himself in AEW. I wouldn't mind that.
I wouldn't mind that either.
Tyson's going to be there.
I want to bring something up. You think that we're seeing the end of the Inner Circle soon? Why are Proud and Powerful not like a prominent tag? They need to be a prominent tag team.
They do. I think they need to be tied in with Eddie Kingston personally and have some like LAX 2.0 in AEW. Or would it be 3.0? Because I guess there's two versions in Impact. But I definitely think they need to branch off. Sammy Guevara obviously needs to branch off. Hager is just a heavy right now. I think you can have him rack some wins. And Jericho eventually is going to be going the tour with Fozzy. So you can't have the inner circle without the leader, I think. So eventually that will ride off. And they won't be a inner circle. But and I think ever since Jericho lost the title, the faction has lost its steam significantly.
Because he's feuding with Orange Cassidy.
I don't really think it's just because he's feuding with Orange Cassidy. I think it's just because they're not really used as a faction. Like, Proud and Powerful come out by themselves, and Sammy Guevara comes out by himself. Like, before, they all came out as a faction. Now they don't. They're just individuals or a tag team. You know?
We got another shout out from Toronto.
Very nice.
Canada.
My first wrestling memory comes from Toronto, WrestleMania 6, The Ultimate Challenge. That was the show that made me a wrestling fan. Hogan and Warrior. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us so far on this live preview and prediction show of AEW All Out on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And also, we are taking your questions after our predictions are done. So you could put your questions in the YouTube chat using the hashtag question. You could donate to the Super Chat party and skip the line. Any dollar amount is greatly appreciated. And of course, people have been asking for it, so we finally got it up. Our merch is finally available. You can click on the store shelf underneath the video, or we have a pin in the top of the YouTube chat that could get you that merchandise. We have t-shirts, we have zip-up hoodies, pullover hoodies, masks, mugs, stickers, fleece blankets, anything. And we're going to have more of it. I got to get something themed with Orange Cassidy and Ralph eventually on that merchandise. And if anybody has any other ideas, let us know, because this is for you guys. It's not for us. So, but thank you all for joining us. Let's move on to the championship matches in tonight's show. First off, champion versus champion. Will this be the semi-main? I doubt it, but it could be. Hikaru Shida, the AEW Women's Champion, versus Thunder Rosa, the NWA World's Women's Champion. Do we get a winner? If so, who it is?
Who is it? It is, I think Shida takes this. I really do. I like that AEW is doing this. I can't see them unless Thunder Rosa is going to stay there for an extended period of time, and there is something worked out between these two companies. I can't see her winning. I can't see Tony Khan allowing a wrestler, or even in her case, another champion come from another company, especially in this case. It'd be one thing if it was a non-title match, like it was just an inter-promotional thing. NWA female wrestler versus somebody else from AEW's female division. But having the two champions go against each other, it's more or less kind of like admitting, like, your champion's better than our champion. And the big thing with the women's division right now that people are critical of is the fact that they don't promote it as much. So one, not only does AEW not really promote their female division, but now you're going to have somebody from another promotion come into your own backyard and beat your champion. I don't see it happening. Shida wins.
Right. Now, I'm glad this was brought up in the chat, in the super chat. Another $10 donation from Francis Loop. Thank you very much. And also Chuck Gank if I pronounced that. I'm sorry if I didn't, with a $3 donation. But Francis says they need to do more double countouts and time limit draws. It helps protect the loser. A time limit draw would help, would have been better for Scorpio Sky in his match with Cody a few weeks ago. I agree. And with that said, this was actually my prediction before that even came up. This is going to a time limit draw. It has to. No one benefits from losing in this match. Thunder Rosa is the NWA World's Women's Champion. Hikaru Shida is the AEW Women's Champion. If you have an outsider win, it looks bad for AEW. If you have Thunder Rosa lose, it looks bad for her, especially when she is what many would consider the best women's wrestler outside of WWE or AEW. It has to happen. It has to be a time limit draw. And I wouldn't be surprised if down the line, Ralph, we get Hikaru Shida showing up maybe on that first episode of the new NWA show that happens to be on Fight TV and some other networks. That's happening, I believe, September 15th is that show. So I believe that we're getting a time limit draw, Ralph.
That is a likely scenario as well. At least you protect people, and I do have to agree. I think a lot of times they should do certain things like that to protect, the wrestlers. Yes. Especially in Cody's case, because he was steamrolling steamrolling isn't the right word. He was winning every single match, and you wanted to protect Scorpio Sky, and a lot of people felt like Scorpio Sky had a chance in that match, and it was just kind of like, okay, you lost, on to the next one. They didn't really do much with him. I hated that.
I did too, and hopefully with this Dark Order 4-man tag match, which I just realized we skipped through. Did we skip through it? I think we did. The 4-man...
Oh my God. The Exalted One is not getting us any fucking chilies after this. We did skip that match.
We did skip that match.
So we got what? What is it? Q-Tip Marshall, Dustin, Scorpio Sky, Zack Ryder.
Yep.
Against the Lawn Service Pros.
Right. So it's Brodie Lee, Colt Cabana,
Colonel Sanders,
and Evil Uno and Stu Grayson. I can't believe because we went right to the Casino Battle Royale. I got distracted by the chat asking who's going to be the Joker in the Casino Battle Royale. So I'm like, let's just skip to it, and forgot to go back to that other match. But I'm going with Dark Order in that match. No reason for them to lose this match, especially when there's a hodgepodge put together of this other 4-man team. Hopefully they don't get too much time. Brodie Lee takes them all out. Quick win.
Yeah, I think somebody's going to deflect from the Nightmare Family or whatever the hell they're called now. I don't know.
Well, there's
unless Cody makes an appeance.
I don't know. I doubt it because
the rumor is what? He's gone for a while?
Yeah, because he's taping some TV show with Stephen Amell. I don't forget the name of the show, but
Arrow.
Right. It's not Arrow. That show's done. All right, so back to Shida and Rosa. I have time limit draw. You have Shida winning, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so let's move on to the second championship match of the night, assuming that we haven't skipped any other matches here. I'm looking at my notes. We haven't skipped any other matches, so let's move on. The AEW Tag Team Championship match. I think tonight we get the culmination of one turning on the other. The question is, who's it going to be? Will it be Hangman? Will it be Omega? Or do they not do it yet against FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler? Who you got?
The implosion is happening tonight. I think it has to happen. They've been working it up for quite some time, and I think this is the point where this needs to happen because the fans want to see it and everybody's kind of anticipating it. The thing that I think they've done nicely in this is first they initially made it seem like it was going to be Hangman. Now some people think that it is going to be Omega here. So you don't really know who it's going to be, but you kind of have the feeling that it is going to happen.
Yep.
If it is Omega, for the love of God, if they're going to do the 4 Horsemen thing, please, please, please don't put Kenny in that group. It will be such a clash of just personalities. He does not fit that typical 4 Horsemen style. Like if they're going to do this, if Kenny's going to be the heel in this thing, let Kenny turn on Hangman, let them go feud, let them go do their own thing. FTR wins the titles. They go do the 4 Horsemen thing or the Revelation or whatever the hell they're going to call themselves. They look like the T-Birds with their little jackets that they wear with Tully, mind you. I forgot to mention that last time, but like they're going to go race cars or something.
Who's Danny Zuko?
Orange Cassidy.
What? He's not even in the group. How can Orange Cassidy?
I just put him in it. He wears the sunglasses and that dopey jean coat.
Not even part of the T-Birds, Ralph. They wear leather jackets, not jean jackets. Come on. Yeah. I hate that movie. All right. I think FTR win. I think we are getting a turn, whether that is Hangman or Omega. I think it's going to be Omega, personally, turning on Hangman Page. I think we need to see some aspect of the cleaner in AEW. I know it's been teased on BTE, but again, not everybody watches BTE to watch for those clues. But I think they laid it on pretty thick this past Wednesday where Kenny could be the one going after Hangman Page. Now, here's a question for you before we head to our main event. We've had two similar stories in AEW and in WWE. Hangman Page and Omega, Sasha and Bayley. Which, assuming that this happens tonight, which story do you think has been told better of one turning on the other? Omega and Page or Sasha and Bayley?
I did not see. I figured the Sasha and Bayley thing was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen last night. So I literally didn't see it coming, as WWE would like to put it.
There's like a bingo card out now, Ralph. I don't know if you followed our Twitter at SCPB Podcast, but now there's a bingo card of all these things that you'll never see coming. We have Roman Reigns turning heel. We have Jim Cornette defending AEW. We have Jey Uso going for the Universal Championship. What was the other? Oh, AOP getting released. There's just so many weird things happening ever since SummerSlam where you never see it coming. And you know what? I was surprised that Sasha was the one that got turned on, not the one that was turning. So, and right. I think here, if Omega turns, I think more people will be more surprised at that than Page turning on Omega.
I think at this point, though, had they truly pushed this teased heel turn for Hangman, and you would not suspect like a heel turn from Kenny because they've teased Kenny now turning.
Right.
It's almost like you're anticipating somebody turning on somebody.
Right. And
one or the other.
It feels like all the members of the Elite, Cody, the Bucks, Omega, are all having these heel tendencies, Ralph. Cody was doing it during the Open Challenge. Omega teasing him being the cleaner again. The Bucks are getting pissed off at Hangman Page with the whole beer and ripping the sign off this past Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if this 4 Horsemen faction ends up actually being a face faction with Hangman Page, and he becomes like the big face of AEW over this, where the Elite become a heel faction. I would not see, wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But at the end of the day, FTR need the titles. Tag division need FTR to be involved in more matches so that they can actually have decent matches that follow freaking rules. And, you know, people can still have their spots. I'm not saying it can't be a spot fest, but at least protect the referees with following the damn rules. And I think this match is going to be a great match tonight. If it's anything like we saw at Revolution with the Bucks, Hangman, and Omega, I think this match will be even better tonight with FTR.
Someone asked if I watched the go-home show of Being the Elite.
What the hell? Does that even count? Is that even
I don't even know what Being the Elite is. I've never watched a fucking episode.
Yes, you have. You have too.
I did not watch it. I did not watch the go home. I've not watched that show in before AEW was formed.
Yeah.
I don't have time to. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You know, 4 wrestling shows, 5 wrestling shows.
Good God. I mean, if last week alone was a freaking marathon because I think wasn't New Japan on Saturday? You had Payback on Sunday.
Yeah.
Monday Night Raw, NXT, Dynamite. That's a lot of freaking wrestling. I swear to God, my wife went and slept. She told me, you're going to watch in the other room because I'm not watching wrestling another night.
There was a lot.
That's a lot of fucking wrestling, man.
2 WWE pay-per-views in a matter of a week. That doesn't happen. So there was a lot going.
Sitting through Raw on most occasions is enough to exhaust me.
Well, that's
because more times than not, Raw is not very good. So,
well, you could always skip that show. You could always DVR and skip through the parts you don't care about either, too. So, thank you for the donation, Darman. He puts in $5. He says, "Sup, love the show all the way from Ireland." So, thank you very much for that. Just tuning in now, pumped for tonight. Ralph, you excited for Orange Cassidy? I want Paige to have a singles run. So he. Just because he's jumping in, he missed your conversation with Orange Cassidy. We know you're excited for that. We know that.
Would you like me to rehash it? Fuck that guy.
Well, that's a good way to rehash it, but
freshly squeezed bathroom break during that match.
Sure. If that's what you want to go with, Ralph. That's what you want to go with. But I think it's still going to be a fun match to watch regardless. But another match that could be fun to watch is our main event for the AEW Championship. Jon Moxley and Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Two guys, as of now, who have yet to have been pinned or submitted since the start of AEW. For the biggest prize, Pretty Platinum, as MJF calls it. Do they pull the trigger on the young 23, 24-year-old, or is this the not his time yet with MJF?
I think that they have to pull the trigger here. You know, and I think that MJF is a guy that is ready. He's young enough. He's energetic enough. Moxley's going to be Moxley, right? His name is going to hold its weight no matter if he has the title or if he doesn't. The same could be said with Jericho. The same could be said with whoever the bigger name guys in AEW are. Now, MJF is a big name guy within the AEW wrestling fan base because you watch the show, you know who he is. Mm-hmm. And a hardcore wrestling fan is going to know who MJF is. But MJF could literally be the next big thing in professional wrestling because he's got that type of personality. He is the guy that could potentially be that one really, really good fucking promo away from being the next big thing in professional wrestling, or the guy that goes outside of wrestling that draws more people into your show. So, I mean, what's the point of waiting? Moxley can have 4 more title runs after tonight.
Right.
But give this guy that one opportunity to run with the belt, similar to what they did with Randy Orton early on in his career.
Yeah, I agree. Like, this is the future of not just AEW, but professional wrestling with MJF. This starts it tonight, I think. They have to put the belt on him. Whether you got to use Wardlow to protect Moxley or actually have MJF win clean, a la Keith Lee beating Randy Orton clean, you got to do stuff like that. You got to get people talking. And I think this would be a great way to cap it off. And that first night of Dynamite after he wins, that is going to be absolutely huge, 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 huge. That promo he cuts. We all know people are going to be viewing in. I know there were segments on Dynamite this week that drew over 1 million. I definitely think Mr. Maxwell Jacob Freeman, if they say he wins and they say he's going to cut a promo, that's definitely getting a million viewer segment.
Okay. What did Tony Khan say this week about WrestleMania?
That Double or Nothing was better than WrestleMania.
What did Chris Jericho say yesterday? I don't know the name of the show off the top of my head. I sent you the link. What did he say about NXT? He was pretty critical about a WWE product, right?
Yep. He said they need to retreat, end the war, go to Tuesdays, basically.
Yeah. So here's the thing. When you look at who's a champion in AEW, when you look at a majority of the top guys in AEW, it's mostly guys that have come from the WWE, which is fine. I mean, we've talked about this on the show. You kind of have to do that. They have to do that because they're trying to establish themselves. They're trying to draw people in, and they're all recognizable. Put the belt on a true AEW guy. Like, this is a guy that wasn't from, this isn't Chris Jericho coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling, ECW, WWE, all the other promotions, WCW back in the day, and being a champion. This isn't Jon Moxley coming in from the Shield when he was Dean Ambrose and all that other shit. This is your first true legitimate AEW product champion, and a guy that can go out there, cut great promos, and say all of the things about WWE and whatever you want him to say, and carry that belt, even if it's for one pay-per-view. Whatever. Give him the one title opportunity, let him run with it, and see what he does with it. Why the hell not? What do you have to lose?
Right.
People aren't going to tune out just because he's the champion.
Right. I agree. But we did get a $4.99 donation on the Super Chat party. Corey MacArthur, another big supporter of the channel. Thank you very much for your donation. He says, hello, guys. I live for Ralph and his comments, especially with Orange Cassidy. And, of course, yours too, Michael. LOL with a crying, laughing emoji. Thank you very much,
Salute.
Corey. Very much.
Thank you, sir.
So now guys did the right thing, and you put your questions in using the hashtag question. We will start running over our questions that you guys submitted, basically in the order they came in, best as we can. And of course, you want to skip the line, you can donate to the Super Chat Party. And of course, we also have merchandise available. You can help support the channel by purchasing one of our new SCPB logo merchandise. You could get that on the shelf in the video below, or on the shelf underneath the video, I should say. But let's go through these really quick. Might be too far ahead, so I apologize. But Ryan C., do you see Kenny turning heel tonight and become the cleaner? Go after Moxley, get the AEW title, and eventually feud with Hangman, culminating with a title match at 2021's Double or Nothing. That's not a bad storyline to go with, Ralph. You could do that. Kenny turning heel. Then
revisiting their feud, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Moxley retains, that's definitely a way you can go. Again, use that hashtag question. It's kind of hard to find out what the questions are without that hashtag. A lot of people saying EC3 for the Joker, Ralph. Do you think that could happen?
I mean, I guess so. He's not with Impact. I know he was there for a little bit. He did some cameos.
I guess he is, but apparently people still think it could happen. I mean, if people from NWA are showing up in AEW, why not people from Impact?
I think it's going to be Alexander Hammerstone.
That wouldn't be a bad move, but I'm pretty sure he's like in Arizona, which is like one of the big hot spots in the whole pandemic thing. But then again, so is Florida, so it doesn't even matter with that. Other questions coming up here. Hard with these lack of the hashtag question. Make sure you use that hashtag question. We'll get to those questions here.
Too many comments of freshly squeezed with my name next to it. Really don't appreciate that.
They know that you love Orange Cassidy, right? Admit it. Just embrace it. You're an Orange Cassidy fan. You know he's the next big thing in wrestling. He is the. What you gonna do when Orange Mania runs wild on you, Ralph? Pretty soon he's gonna start ripping his shirt. He's gonna come out to like a Real American type theme song.
The best was when I was having this conversation with somebody and they referred to him as a cultural phenomenon.
I guess in some aspects that's true, but very niche.
It's not.
A very, very niche cultural phenomenon.
A cult following.
Yes.
A very small subset of AEW fans.
Listen, there's a lot of things that have cult followings that are very, very popular. Bill and Ted has a cult following, and they just came out with their third movie, which was good, by the way. Here's a question from AEW for Life. Guessing he's a WWE fan, but who do you think debuts tonight at AEW's All Out? Could be Eli Drake. I mean, basically, whoever the Joker is could be a big debut. We already kind of went through that, but in case you missed it, could be Eli Drake, maybe Nick Aldis,
Brock Lesnar.
I mean, Tony Khan did not comment in the media call about Lesnar, but I doubt it's going to be him.
No, I doubt
Jim
it too.
Cornette, maybe.
Do you think? I think we get one debut. I mean, AEW has been good for that.
Yeah, we definitely have. There we go. Now people are starting to use the questions. So, Leon Bright, if they put the belt on MJF, how do you book his championship run? Ooh, that's a whole episode in itself to try to do that. But I think it culminates with Hangman Page taking the title off of him. You could certainly start it with either Darby or Jungle Boy, but Jungle Boy's got to start racking wins.
Maybe that's the answer to the question right there. Because if you don't have a legitimate contender lined up for him,
then they can't have him win.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like unless the Joker is like a high profile name, somebody that's really going to send shockwaves throughout the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Brian Cage, potential rematch with Mox.
Yep.
You got Lance Archer.
Mm-hmm.
I know people keep saying Eddie Kingston. I don't see that yet. I don't know if he's ever going to get to that level. He can certainly talk and he's great. And he had a hell of a debut. But I don't think people envision him right now being somebody that can be like the main eventer or carry the title just yet. Maybe he
Right.
gets to that point. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean,
So I don't know. That's tough.
right. Now, we did get another donation to the Super Chat Party. Thank you very much. Tavares Griffin, $4.99. Do you see a young Rock in Ricky Starks? Well, I mean, if you put a fanny pack on him and about 200 pounds of muscle, you get that infamous Rock picture from the mid-90s. I don't think you see like the charisma of the Rock. I totally get the comparison. And they look very similar, especially with the Rock when he first came to WWE. That's a hard comparison to make, to say that he's a young Rock, unless you're just saying it for just visual comparison, where he looks like Rocky Maivia. I could say that. But if you're saying he's going to be like the same talker, the same charisma, building storylines like that, that is a hard comparison to make. But maybe time will tell and he could prove me wrong. What do you think, Ralph?
No, I agree. I mean, I think he's a charismatic guy. I think that he can do some pretty good things depending on, he's a guy right now that I think is doing really well in the role that he's in. He's going to have to get some wins and be put in some prominent positions where he can headline and stuff like that. And we'll see if people accept him. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. Like, it's not easy. If you grew up watching professional wrestling and being a big fan during the Attitude Era, that's really not a common thing. Like, you don't get guys over to that extent. Like, you had your Rocks, your Austins, even guys from WCW like Hollywood Hogan. Like, that's not something that commonly happens. So to think that anybody can get to that level, and I feel like a lot of times when people leave the WWE and they get that stamp on them, like underutilized, there's the expectation they're going to automatically go to AEW or elsewhere and become a huge star. Yeah. A successful professional wrestler and a huge star are two entirely different things.
Right.
So yeah, you can have a successful run and be a top guy. That doesn't mean like you're one of the top draws ever in the industry. So to compare him to The Rock might be a little premature, but I mean, I get hints of where that comes from with his charisma.
Right. True. I mean, I really like Ricky Starks. I think there's definitely potential for him. I think he does need to add a little bit of weight, a little bit of muscle. It might be a little too small, but AEW doesn't really care about the big bodybuilder type anyway. And he could do very well in AEW, I think. And I think NWA, totally, it's a huge loss for them, I think, with Ricky Starks. But
someone asked who's winning the Super Bowl.
When the heck does the NFL season even start? I'm so lost with sports because of this whole year that I don't even know what the hell's going on in the world of sports.
So the Giants, naturally.
Sure, we'll go with them just because they're my favorite team. There was a guy that commented on one of our videos earlier that said the Giants suck. Well, okay, they suck. Here's a question for you, Ralph. This is from Jimmy Ward. He says, Jim Cornette recently said that both AEW and NXT will have around the same amount of viewers a year from now. Thoughts? Well, I think the fact that they're on separate nights, we've seen that it's possible. It all depends on whether or not they end up on the same night, or will NXT move to a different night? I think if they should move to a different night, because you will definitely see the same amount of viewers a year from now. But it's hard to really say if they're on the same night. I mean, what do you think, Ralph?
I think that, look, NXT is WWE's developmental system. What that means is, that those guys, once you get to the top of the NXT roster, whether you're Adam Cole, whether you're Keith Lee, don't matter who you are, more than likely you're getting called up, which means every time that happens, every time you get over to a crazy extent where fans are going to watch on a weekly basis to see that one guy, they're going to get called to the main roster. And that's going to hurt their ability to compete with AEW and retain their audience.
Right.
AEW doesn't have that. If you tune in and on a weekly basis, you're going to see Chris Jericho. You're going to see Orange Cassidy. You're going to see MJF. NXT, you could see Tommaso Ciampa this week, and you could be a huge fan, and he could have a huge following. Next week, Vince may say, nope, he's going to SmackDown. So it's hard to retain the audience in that sense. I mean, the other thing, too, you got to consider is this. With NXT, I think NXT misses their live audience more so than AEW, because with NXT, they had such a loyal following. They really miss that now. AEW fans, they're going to watch the show no matter what. In Daily's Place, it seems fresher and it seems better to me on a weekly basis. It just seems like a better ambiance.
Yep.
And NXT lost a lot of their good, really good core guys that went up to the main roster. So had NXT, they lost a lot of their, if they had the roster that they had, let's say going back 2 years ago, they'd be able to compete with AEW a little more, be a little more competitive. Let's say it that way. Cause they lost,
Maybe.
let's look at this. They lost Aleister Black. They lost Ricochet. Yep. They lost the Viking Raiders, the War Raiders, whatever the hell you want to call them. They were crazy over.
Yep.
They lost Street Profits.
Yep.
They lost, I said Aleister Black. They lost
Andrade.
I mean, I'm sure I could go on and on and on. So, I mean, when you have that many guys that are just putting in match after match after match, and NXT was so good for so long, that I think they hit a point where it was like, you know, now you're supplementing those guys for like Breezango and, you know, guys like that. And as good as, you know, some of those guys are, you're not going to supplement to the level of talent that you lost to the main roster.
Right.
So that's why NXT is at a disadvantage, in my opinion.
Right. Well, that's true. But we're going to go through a few more questions. But if you want to cut the line, all you got to do is donate to the Super Chat Party. Any dollar amount is greatly appreciated. And of course, we also have official SCPB merchandise. You could click the video chat pin on the top of the chat. And also we have the shelf underneath. And you can see all our awesome merchandise with the Weird Circle Psychobabble logo. Got t-shirts, hoodies, masks, mugs, all for your pleasure. And if you guys want anything else, let us know. We'll try to get it up there. I know I'm going to get Ralph in like an Orange Cassidy themed t-shirt soon. Just have to figure out how to do it. But what's the next? I just had the next question. This is from Shadow SSJ Goku. He says, what if Wardlow wins the Battle Royale and then just doesn't go for the title? Number one contender and champ in cahoots. That's certainly a thing you could do. You don't have him go for the title until MJF drops it. That's one way to do it. Austin NY26. When do you think AEW should do the eventual Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho feud? I think Jericho's got to leave first, realize Sammy could be better on his own, and then when he comes back, that's when the feud happens.
Yeah, you got to believe that the guy that's coming up is the equivalent or capable of beating the guy on top. I think Sammy Guevara is good and he has a lot of potential, but I don't think people view him as being at the level of Chris Jericho just yet. So when you look back on similar situations, I guess the one that comes to mind is Randy Orton, Triple H. Randy Orton was meant to believe that he was the next up and comer or could be the next big thing in professional wrestling. I think people look at Sammy Guevara as a guy that can be really good, but I don't think people look at him as like somebody who can be the next big thing just yet.
Right.
He can get there.
He could. Next question from Dope Dubs Productions. Do we get a Tessa Blanchard sighting? The only way I see that is if one, AEW knows what's going on with her and everything's kosher with their policies. Two, Shida's definitely winning clean over Rosa and they don't have anyone lined up. Obviously, you could throw her in there as a surprise. And three, WWE hasn't signed her yet. So I'm going to say no for tonight. And it's still to be determined whether or not we actually do see Tessa Blanchard in the near future. I mean, especially with this year, it's so many people with allegations. It's very hard to really say, oh, this guy's definitely going to do it without some form of backlash when they show up. So, and we don't need to go into the allegations of everybody here. That's not what we're for. We're here to talk about the in-ring stuff, not the stuff out of the ring. So what do you think, Ralph? Tessa Blanchard, yes or no?
No.
Next question, Leon Bright. Don't you think AEW is being severely affected by the pandemic? I think Tony Khan is booking safe for now until the crowd comes back, and maybe we'll see some interesting booking then. I don't think they're really booking safe. I mean, they could be booking better, but I don't really think they're booking safe. I am a little surprised how many freaking gimmick matches we have tonight, though. there's what, 4 stipulation matches? Broken Rules, Mimosa, Tooth and Nail.
Freshly squeezed.
Yeah, the Mimosa match, the Casino Battle Royale. So 4. A lot of gimmick matches for a pay-per-view. Usually you see that stuff for like Extreme Rules. Yeah, Vince Russo's booking the show. That's what it feels like. Just we don't have anything on a poll yet. Maybe the Tooth and Nail match. Maybe the Tooth and Nail match is you have to get that thing that they clean your teeth with, that little hook thing. Get that off a pole and like use it against your opponent. But what other questions do we have here?
People are going at it over all types of crazy shit in the chat right now.
Yeah. Let's see. Disavowed Action Figures just asked, any 4 Horsemen story development tonight, and what if any, what will they be? Obviously the turn of Hangman or Omega makes sense. So I think that's really the only development, other than maybe Sean Spears and FTR winning this whole thing. So we'll see where that goes. Anything to add with that, Ralph?
Yeah, I don't think we actually get the reveal of this group yet. I think it's pretty close by, though. Within the next couple of weeks, I think we see it.
Right. All right. So this is going to be our last question of the night. Thank you all for joining us here on our AEW All Out preview show. We made our predictions. We answered your questions. So here it is. What would be your reaction if the 4 Horsemen faction is just the heel elite? I just said that a while ago, but I think it'd be very interesting. I know obviously people would love the elite, and they love the elite, and they really should be faces forever. But let's face it, Omega's better as a heel. Cody's kind of better as a heel. And maybe the Bucks are better as a heel. So I'd be all for it.
I mean, is that really much different than the Bullet Club before AEW got formed?
Exactly.
So
that's really what it could have. Instead of the 4 Horsemen, it's just the Bullet Club. Everyone's talking about 4 Horsemen, but maybe AEW's just bringing in Bullet Club.
Did you see what they did with Finn Balor and Adam Cole in the middle of the match?
Yes, I did. The little too sweet gesture to each other. And then Finn Balor threw out Adam Cole. Nice little touch to the match. That's one of those things where, of course, if you only watch WWE, you have no clue what they're doing. But if you're a fan that watches everything, you will totally understood that. You think AEW has too many tag teams, Ralph?
I don't think they have too many. I don't think they do a very good job at promoting them.
Yeah, true. And we did get a $10 donation, another one from Francis Loop. Thank you very much. He says that I loved your comment, talking to me, loved the comment on Serena Deeb the other day for the Dynamite review. AEW needs to get Serena Deeb over anybody else, including Brock Lesnar. Tony Khan can't afford to lose her back to WWE. Now, I will admit, on the review, I was talking about the wrong trainer. I was talking about Sarah Amato, not Serena Deeb, but Serena Deeb is a former NXT trainer, has had a lot of influence with the women's division in NXT. She would be a huge get for AEW, and I agree with you, Francis. They need to get her. She's super, super important, especially with pushing the women's division.
Let's talk about this really quick. The second half is the question.
Yeah.
Does Brock Lesnar show up tonight?
No.
Do you think he goes to AEW, and why do you think Tony Khan wouldn't talk about it?
Tony Khan doesn't want to talk about it to spread news, which by not talking about it, he did anyway. But I think he knows even that it's impossible. Like, I understand the Khans have more money. They can theoretically pay him the money he wants and give him the flexibility he wants. But that's not happening. Brock Lesnar is either retiring, going to MMA, or going back to WWE.
Do you think that would be... So what would be bigger to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a heel turn from Kenny or Hangman, MJF winning, or Brock Lesnar appearing?
Lesnar appearing.
Hands down, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if that happens, I don't think it is, but That's like a true like moment right there. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
we'll see. But thank you very much, guys, for your, for watching us here. Thank you for your questions. Thank you very much for those that donated. Jamie Bazrea, Francis Loop, Harold Romero, Chuck Gantz, Darman, Corey MacArthur, Tavares Griffin. Thank you very much for your donations. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us here on the Squared Circle Psychobabble. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And of course, the merchandise, folks, official SCPB merchandise now available. Just click the shelf underneath the video for what we have. Also in the video chat, you can also click on that as well to see what we have. Thank you very much. Enjoy All Elite Wrestling All Out, happening in less than an hour with the buy-in show. For Ralph Valenti, my name is Michael Valenti. Thank you all for watching the Squared Circle Psychobabble.